So if you've been on Twitter recently, or like the internet at all, you've probably already heard about Sora. Not this one. But if you don't know, or you're not terminally online like I am, Sora is the newest model from OpenAI, the same people who made ChatGPT and DALL-E. And functionally, it works about the same. You give it a prompt, and the AI comes up with something based off of what you write. But instead of writing an essay or painting Moist Critical as Jesus, it creates a hyper-realistic video of whatever you give it. And I mean, just look at it. And at first glance, it just looks like a real video of a drone just following two random people going by on a walk. And you even have these two people looking up at the drone, and it just looks real. But it's not. And yeah, like as you start paying closer attention to it, it sort of starts losing the realism. Like the cars on this side are just driving on the snow, and she is like totally clipping through this roof here and the red thing over here, and then you look closer at them and you realize they're like giants compared to the fence and the people in front of them, and it just like feels off. But this is still like insane. It looks really realistic, and it's crazy how quickly it's evolved in less than a year. I mean, just look at this video from April 2023. I mean, this is just night and day. This looks like a fucking fever dream, and you compare it to the other video, and it's insane. And this is only gonna get better, which is kind of terrifying. I mean, AI is absolutely gonna become a big part of our lives in the next 10 to 20 years, and it's definitely gonna put a lot of people out of their jobs, which is horrible. But don't get it twisted. AI becoming this advanced is not a bad thing. I mean, it can be helpful to people who work in animation, for example, to eliminate menial labor. In fact, AI was already being used exactly for that 6 years ago in Into the Spider-Verse.
Personal chauffeur going once.
It's okay.
Line work is one of those things we had to solve a lot of different ways. It's amazing how much one little line for a furrow or a dimple can make you feel completely different about the expression. The effects team did this amazing thing where we had the character designer make a library of drawings. So that was something we could make rules for. This is the way that nose would look from this head angle to camera. And we made a whole bunch of poses that defined that. And the effects team would recreate those in 3D space with those rules of head angle to camera, and then let the machine learning program try and guess where those drawings would go, and a person would correct it every time it was wrong, making it therefore another rule. And little by little, we're teaching the computer to make drawings that we find redundant.
All that technology was in the service of allowing artists more freedom to do things by hand, and it all became a part of this handcrafted feel.
You know, with great ability comes great accountability.
That's not even how the saying goes,
Man, I
Dad.
do like his cereal though, man. I'll give him that.
And even with just this example, the point still stands. AI is not a bad thing. It's the way companies are gonna use it that's the bad thing. Instead of people having to work less with better conditions and good pay, they're going to be replaced because then they don't have to pay you at all. It was the same thing with the Industrial Revolution, and it will be the same thing with the AI revolution. Because that's the nature of capitalism. Right now, AI is just a tool, but it's not always going to be like that. I mean, this thing is rapidly evolving, and there's not a thing we can do about it. But what we can do, and what we need to do, is regulate it, and create laws around it to make sure that it can't replace every job in its path, and instead, have it work alongside people in those industries, like animation, or transportation, or teachers even. And the same thing goes for generative AI. We need to make sure that if it's trained on someone else's work, that they get compensated for it. Even just by talking about it, we can help influence our politicians and lawmakers, and hopefully, create change. AI may be the future, but we can help shape it.